And we are back once again. It is time to go over to preview week 11. Last week in week 10, we went 9-5 in our picks. Both of us did. We got there in different ways, but we got the same number. And we usually are pretty similar, but I'm thinking as we're moving forward here, we're seeing that, you know, simply picking the favorite is just not working as well as maybe it should. We are both starting to deviate from this a little bit and picking some more upsets, and I think that's going to give a bigger disparity between our records because most of the time we're within a game or two of each other for the whole season.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, man. No, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And I think we've both learned after a year and a half of doing this that you know, favorites are favorites for a reason, but they don't always win.
Not at all. There's a I mean, you'd have to say on any given week, if there's 16 games, there's going to be four upsets.
Yeah. I mean, they're always there. This is why there's no the worst teams always win a few games. They don't go winless, and the best teams rarely, if ever, go undefeated. It's what twice in the last 55 years.
Yep.
So it is what it is. It's a tough game, and even the worst teams are still okay. So
Yep. So let's dive into week 11. Al, why don't you take over the hosting duties and let's dive into this with a great Thursday night game right off the bat.
boy, we it sure is, man, and yeah. Commanders at Eagles, and I think the whole NFL world wants to see what happens in this one. You go ahead and take it first.
Well, I absolutely do too. I know that we're going to get them in Washington at some point too, but I wish this first game was in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it would be a little harder to pick. Don't get me wrong, but because it's in Philadelphia and because they're playing so well, I think you got to go Philadelphia. And I went with the Eagles 27-21. They're playing really well. Um, again, I wish this first one was in Washington. When they play later in the year when they will play later in the year in Washington, that will be very interesting to pick. That could be I could see myself picking Washington in that one possibly. We got to see what happens between now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But coming in right now, it's the Eagles. There's only a couple teams I would pick over them right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Like if
Yeah,
they
and
were in
I
Detroit or something, I would probably pick Detroit.
Detroit. Who's the other one? He said.
Maybe Kansas City.
Yeah. Kansas City, Detroit. I mean, I have to think real hard about maybe like the Ravens and the Steelers. Steelers probably harder than the Ravens. Maybe I don't know. But
Man,
yeah, there's a very small list right now. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, this I might have picked the Commanders if this was in Washington. Honestly, this is a really tight game. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens. This is the first time the Commanders have been relevant in so long.
yep,
It's fun to see. And the Eagles I have them at -3, which is basically a 0 point spread on a neutral site. Do you have the
yep,
-3? Okay. Um, so the reason I go with the Eagles is one, they're at home. Two, they have outstanding defensive numbers right now that are tops one of the tops in the league. Number 2 yards per game, fifth points per game. Their rush and pass defense are top 6, and Washington, while their defense has improved throughout the season, just gave up 28 to the Steelers, and they're middle of the pack yards per game, 14th and 12th points per game. So that makes it easier for me to pick the team I want to win. So I'm going to pick the Eagles, but I'm going to pick it close, and I'm going to knock another point off a normal score for some weird Sirianni 2 point conversion nonsense. 26-24 Eagles.
oh, real close.
Yeah, that should have been 27-24 if Sirianni didn't go for 2 when he didn't need to it earlier in the game.
All right, and I have 27-21.
Right on. I like yours better. All
Yeah,
right.
but I
Anything
think
else?
we're both would be surprised if this is a blowout.
I would be surprised if it's a blowout in either direction. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I have hope for. Oh, the one thing we didn't talk about a lot on the Washington Steelers game this week, and we can talk about it in reference to this. He played a great defense for the first time as a rookie and got held in check, like real seriously in check. His insane completion percentage that was 80% a few weeks ago was 50% in that game. Um, and he's still listen. I think this guy's a hell of a player, and I'm nervous about facing him with the Eagles team here. But but he showed that he can be stopped by a great D, and the Eagles are showing signs of being a great D. So let's see what happens. If they can hold him to 50%, my score just got bigger, way bigger. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
I would agree.
All right, cool. All right, let's move to Sunday at 1. The Europe games are over for the year, so we are 1 o'clock starts, and the first one, Raiders at Dolphins.
Okay, well, uh, like you said in the review, the previous podcast, Miami might be rounding into form now with Tua back. Um, Although I didn't think it would take another, 3 weeks. I thought when he got back it would maybe one game because he was there earlier.
Yeah,
But maybe it did take the 3 weeks or whatever. They looked a lot better. They weren't. It wasn't overwhelming, by the way.
no,
I mean, he wasn't great, but
no,
they looked better. And let's face it, the Raiders they stink. The Raiders are not a good team at all. I know they were off last week, so they had plenty of time to prepare. But I'm in no position to pick them going across the country on the road. And I am picking a close game, but I'm going Miami 20-17.
okay, okay. By the way, one piece of news about this game that came out this week is: did you happen to hear the Raiders had a team and staff, a player and staff meeting, and it did not go very well?
It didn't go well.
It did not go well. They called out Max Crosby apparently led the charge, but plenty of players were voicing their opinions. They called this meeting to address what was going on and let the players speak their mind apparently, and boy did they speak their mind. Apparently they went off about what a loose ship it is and how there's no structure, and if players are telling you they need structure, I can't even imagine what's going on over there. So that sounds like
So
the beginning of the end for old Antonio Pierce. I mean, this was going to be at the end anyway, based on the record. But it is not
it's
a
a
happy
mess.
house over there right now.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yep. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to pick the Dolphins a lot bigger though, because I think there is something to them coming together a little bit, and I think the Raiders are just that bad. So I'm going to go Dolphins, 30-13.
Okay, yeah, you got it a lot bigger. Okay,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, who knows? They're so hard to read. But okay, let's move on. Anything else with that one?
no, I'm good.
All right. Now, another one, not on the list of games I would want to watch this week necessarily, is Browns at Saints.
Yeah, definitely not. I don't know what to make of this game.
I don't either.
This is a terrible game to try to pick.
It is.
It's a terrible game on the field and terrible to try to pick a winner. Would not be surprised either way. And when we don't know, and it's this close, and they both stink, and there's no interest, we do the old fallback, go with the home team. New Orleans is coming off a win that I was surprised that they got anyway.
Very
So I'm
much.
gonna give it to New Orleans 17-13 in an ugly, just awful game.
Right on. Right on. And I'm with you on this. I wanted to pick the Browns only because it's Jameis's return to New Orleans, which
Yeah.
I don't know how much that really means. Not enough for me to pick him. And he played so poorly in that last game with 3 picks that it was hard to do it. I'm just falling back on the home team here. Saints 24-21.
All right. Yeah, we're in lockstep there for sure.
Right on. Okay. Now, here we go. Colts at Jets. Two teams that are not doing awesome.
After last week, I said I can't see myself picking the Jets in any games, but I'm picking the Jets.
That's just so funny because I was thinking the same thing, and you'll
I
see why.
mean, because the Colts they're just okay. They're just an average team. They're on the road. Uh, man, I don't know. I got to say, I went back and forth. I initially picked the Colts.
I went back and forth on this a lot too. There was a few games that were very hard to pick. This was one of them.
This is impossible. Uh, Very tough. And so the Jets are at home. I mean, talent wise, they got them beat, but that doesn't. We've shown that for them that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Would not be surprised in the least if the Colts win. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going Jets 23-19.
Okay, that's funny, man. I thought there's a couple games I was wondering if we'd be different on. This was one of them, and we are not. I am following the same thing you said. I am going home team. This is the last gasp, not for them to save their season. This season is not savable, but this is the last gasp for this thing not to just fall into hell. You know what I mean? If they can keep themselves together, play a decent offensive game, maybe tackle a couple people, they come out of this alive. But of course, this very well could be the once every 4 to 6 weeks Flacco 300-yard game with 3 touchdowns and no picks. So who
Yeah,
knows? But I'm going to go Jets, and I'm going to make it ugly, 16-14.
yeah. Just I have no interest. I don't want to do that game at all.
No, yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. It really is. All right, let's move on. So
Yes.
now this is more interesting based on how the better team played last week. But see what you think. Vikings at Titans.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee's terrible,
Yep.
but Minnesota is not playing well.
No.
They lost a couple in a row. They came back, won a couple, and but throughout all this, they have not looked great. And last week, they really looked terrible. They won. What was it, 12-7?
Yeah,
That's just awful.
it's brutal.
Um, but Tennessee's bad enough to make any team look pretty good,
Yeah.
even at home. I'm going Minnesota. I'm going 23-10,
Ooh. Okay.
giving them a decent win here.
I like it. I like it. Here's crazy stat of the week. Now we talked about in our recap episode of Week 10 how total yardage numbers weren't adding up to the final score in crazy ways,
Right.
right? Well, here's one for the season. Check this out, dude. I just decided to dig into team defense stats last night, and I found something great. Check this one out. Do you know which team is number one in defense and yards per game in the NFL?
Is it the Chargers?
Nope.
Yards per game.
Yep.
Uh, Well, since we're doing
I
this
would have
game,
guessed
is
the
it
same thing. By the way.
Tennessee?
Say it again. I'm sorry. I talked over you.
Is it Tennessee?
It is Tennessee, my man. Now, here's where it gets crazier. They are number one in defensive yards per game, but 28th in points per game.
That does not make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. They are allowing 273.6 yards a game, which is number one in the league, and allowing 26.7 points a game, which is 28th in the league. It's crazy. Doesn't make
That is
any
crazy,
sense.
and they stink.
And they stink. They have the number one defense in football yardage per game. It's crazy. How are they allowing that many points? It's just I don't know. I don't know how that adds up, but I had to point it out. It was the craziest stat I saw all week.
Wow, that is crazy.
So that being said, I am with you. I think they're just so bad. I mean, now listen. If Will Levis had his best game of the season last
He
week,
did. He did.
if he's playing for his job, and if he can do that or better the rest of the season, he can keep it. I don't see it happening personally though, and I'm not going to pick it this week. Vikings, and you were 23-10.
Yeah.
I'm going 24-11. Oh, shoot. All right. Anything else on that?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Sweet. Okay. Here we go. NFC North. This game looked like it was going to be awesome a few weeks ago. Now, we'll see. Packers at Bears.
Yeah, it's not. The bloom is off the rose a little bit on this game.
It really is. Now, real quick, Craig,
Yeah,
before you go crazy, do we get a new offensive coordinator bump, or does that only apply to head coaches?
I don't think so.
I'm with you.
I don't know, but yeah, I can't see this working out for Chicago. They've given us nothing to believe they can win this game over the last few weeks. Green Bay is a very, very good team. Might be the second best team uh, between them and Philadelphia for second and third best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
And I'd say Detroit's number one.
Right now, I have to agree, and you could throw Washington in that mix too.
Yeah, probably behind those, but probably behind Green Bay and Philadelphia would be Washington. But we'll see.
I agree.
Anyway, uh, yeah, you can't pick Chicago here and feel good about it. They've given us no reason to pick them. So I'm going Green Bay, and I'm going a pretty decent score, 26-13. I think they
Nice.
handle them.
Yeah, right on. That makes a lot of sense to me. And you're getting Jordan Love. I forgot. Remind me right after this game. I forgot to do the buys. We can do that right after this.
Okay.
Um, and Jordan Love has another week of rest with that groin thing he was so bad the last time because they shouldn't have played him, but they did, and they lost because of it. But hopefully he'll be back to the awesome Jordan Love that we've all come to know. And they will beat the Bears 27-16. And even as I say that, I think that might be a real bigger score, actually. A bigger margin. But I'll stick with it. 27-16 Packers.
Yeah, totally agree. Who are on the bye?
Okay, here we go. Where do I have it? Here it is. All right. We have Arizona Cardinals, the newly respected by us Arizona Cardinals, uh, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and boy, do these next two teams need to buy after playing each other, Carolina and New York Giants.
Yeah, they were in Germany. They usually do that.
Yeah,
Go
that
to
makes a lot.
Germany
That
the
makes
next
sense.
week, you're off.
That makes sense. If you're going to do that nonsense, at least they're giving them a little bit of a way to recover from it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we said that usually the teams will fire a head coach or fire somebody during the buys, but usually the first day to have the most time with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I still am half expecting the Giants to do it because the Giants don't do stuff normally, and they screw up everything.
It's
So
a
I
fair
wouldn't be
point.
surprised if they wait and fire him like next Monday.
That's a really fair point. It wouldn't stun me either, honestly. If Gettleman was still the GM, I'd bet on that happening.
Yeah, because they just screw everything up. So if they fire Dable, they'll probably fire him maybe next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Have one practice with the new head coach.
yeah, they'll have no game plan installed before for the new game. They'll just be like, go wing it, Danny Dimes. Oh, that's awesome. All right, now where does that take us? Okay, biggest point spread I saw this week is the next game, and that is the Jaguars at the Lions.
Well, this depends on Trevor Lawrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to caveat a score. I picked Detroit 31-21, thinking Trevor Lawrence will play. If he doesn't play, then it's like more like 31-10.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. I am picking on the assumption that he's out, and I won't caveat either. I'm picking Lions. Now, the one thing is, I will say, I might go. The Lions have a great offense, so I'm going to pick it anyway. I'm curious to see because the Jags have played some pretty good defense this year.
Yeah, they have.
So I'm picking a big number for the Lions, but I might be off base here. Let's see. I'm going Lions 31-12.
Okay. Yeah. Um, they're just steamrolling. They're looking good. I mean, they kind of they should have really lost last week, but they found a way to win, kind of like Kansas City
Yep,
and
yep.
Pittsburgh and all these teams that are pretty good who had really tight games, but they all pulled it out.
No
And
doubt, no doubt.
that's one of the reasons why they're as good as they are. And yeah, I love everything that Detroit's doing.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, other than Goff throwing 5 picks, I can't pick on almost much of what they're doing other than their pass D. You know, and even that they're covering up with good safety play. Their corners are awful though.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that can hit them, but it hasn't yet. So here we go. Now the Rams, who we can't figure out, at the suddenly resurgent Patriots. I don't know if I go that far actually. They just
Did you
beat the.
see the Patriots are like a 3-point favorite?
I have the
Or
Rams at -5.5. Let me just.
oh
It's a,
wait, that's the wrong game. Yeah, Rams. Yeah, Rams are the
Okay, because that
favorite.
was going to blow my mind. All right.
Yeah, I was very tempted to pick New England in this
I understand that.
because I don't know what's going on with the Rams. They're up and down, but what I'm thinking, I'm going with the Rams 21-16, and what I'm thinking is they were down last week, so this week they're going to be up
Yeah.
because
And
they can't figure them out.
yeah, there's no use trying to apply any other logic to them, apparently.
Yeah, there's no logic. They looked like trash last week. If they play like they played last week in this game, New England will win. But I'm expecting them to play a lot better because they're the Rams and they're just you can't figure them out.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. They are a tough nut to crack for sure. Oh, fun stat for this game they showed last night. Sean McVay is in his 7th year in the league, and it's the first year that he's not the youngest coach in the league. Is that
Wow,
wild? I forgot he started when he was 31 years old.
that's wow.
Yeah, he won that Super Bowl at like 32 or something. I mean, he was in his 2nd year, I think, right? Something like that.
Second or third, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was a child. He couldn't have run for president when he won the Super Bowl. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, no, but I'm with you on this one. This one, I wanted to find a reason to pick the Pats. Had a hard time with it. I don't see them as a team that is going to win 2 games in a row this year.
No,
So I'm
although
going
Carolina
Rams.
did.
Yeah, which I would have bet against that too. So this could totally happen. Could totally happen. But I'm going to go Rams. I just think they're good enough that they're going to have to win at least every other game against a bad team. So 23-16 Rams.
We were very close. I had 21-16.
Yeah, yeah, we've had a couple of them this week. Haha, I like it. All right, now we're going to have a few contenders for game of the week this week. We already had the Commanders and the Eagles. We got another one coming up right now. That is Ravens at Steelers.
What
Oh
do you
my!
have for a line for this one?
I have Steelers -3.5, but I did this
I
last night, so it could have shifted.
Yeah, Steelers minus 3.5.
Right on.
Oh wow. All right. Well, this is going to be a great game to watch. I mean, this should be, to quote the great Jim Ross, this is going to be a slobber knocker.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Pittsburgh coming off the unlikely win against Washington that they had no business really winning, and the way that ended, just craziness. Um, Baltimore is, obviously great, but that defense is really bad.
Yeah, the pass
And
defense especially. Yes.
pass defense is bad. The run defense is okay.
Yeah, run defense is
Um,
fairly solid. Pass defense is it's 26th in the league, by the way.
but Pittsburgh's defense is very good, and you go with the better defense usually when it's this tight, and also the home team. I can see this going either way, but I actually went with Pittsburgh 24-20.
Okay, okay. Yeah, this is one I was wondering if we were going to be different on, and I have been very high on the Ravens this year. However, I cannot ignore that pass defense anymore, and here's some stats. 26th ranked, I said 24th a minute ago, I was looking at something else. 26th ranked defense in yards per game, 24th ranked in pass yards per game. That is so unraven like. I have a hard time even believing I'm saying that about them.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, the Steelers are second behind those Titans in yards per game allowed and eighth. No, crap, I read my stats wrong. Idiot. Sorry. Second in passing yards per game and eighth in total yards per game. So,
Okay.
and the weakness of the Ravens feeds into what the Steelers are doing so well right now. Russell
Yeah.
is just bombing away, bombs away, bombs away, bombs away. He must throw more yards up in the sky than any other quarterback. And I love watching it. He throws the most beautiful deep ball I've ever seen. And I'm
Get Pickens in your lineup.
yeah, dude. He was sitting on my bench for weeks and weeks, and I started him in every league I have last week. And he is a starter moving forward. Um, Pittsburgh, 28-24. I'm going because they're home and because of the Ravens pass D. But the Ravens are my upset pick.
Okay. Okay. Very, very good. Yeah. That was a close one. There's been so many games so far that I was tempted to go with the upset, and I'm sure you were too. But we still ended up with the same.
No doubt.
We haven't had one difference yet.
I know that's crazy. And I was thinking we were going to have all kinds of differences. It's so funny, man. All right, here we go. Now we're moving to the 4 o'clockers, and we have the Seahawks, who we view very differently than we did 3 or 4 weeks ago against
Yep.
the Niners.
Well, the Niners have McCaffrey back. He looked okay. He got through the game, obviously. Seattle, I've got to see it now again from them before I feel good about them or feel good at least picking them here and there.
Yeah.
But they're on the road. I know they're coming off the bye, but still, I'm still going to go San Francisco here. 28-17, home team. Seattle just floundering the last few games. Uh, Maybe they put themselves together and they shock us here and win this game, or I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it close and play well the rest of the way. Maybe they straighten some things out, but I'm going Niners 28-17.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The Eagle fan in me is nervous about how the Niners played last week. I thought it 3 weeks ago, and then they put up a stinker the next week. So maybe they're not fully back, but the difference is Christian. What is his last name?
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. I wanted to call him McCartney. Jeez, what is wrong with me? Christian McCaffrey is back. So that my goodness, he's not Paul McCartney. He's not a Beatle. um, so yes, he is back, and that's the difference. That's why I'm more easier to believe that this was the real coming of the real Niners this past week. So even though it wasn't super impressive, honestly, other than Brock Purdy's game, the score was only 23-20. But yeah, I'm nervous that this is the beginning of them really getting in gear. And the Seahawks have not been impressive for a while now. Although coming off a bye maybe helps, but not enough for me to pick them. Certainly not with the Niners at home. 28-20 Niners.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're close again. 28-17.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I like that. All right. Now, here's another. This is a very interesting game coming up. I don't know if I would put it in game of the week category, but it's right there, just a tier below some of these other ones. Because I don't know what these two teams are so hard to figure out. Falcons at Broncos.
Okay, the Broncos are actually a 3-point favorite, I believe.
I have them at -1.5, but they
Okay,
are
then my
favored for sure. And that again, I did this last night as the Monday night game was ending, so things could have shifted.
okay. Well, then I have kind of a lame upset pick because my upset pick is Atlanta, but
It's
I
still
thought
an
it was
upset.
more than
It's fine. I mean, that's all good. It's on. If you're picking a road team against a team that's 6-3, I accept that.
okay. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I got Denver winning 27-23. Atlanta is my upset because this is a tough one to call. If Atlanta can get back to the way they were just a couple weeks ago, I think they can win this game for sure. But last week, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it was just a bad week, and they will win this game. But Denver has been ascending all season long, getting better and better. It's tangible; you could see it.
Yep,
And Bo Nix is looking solid as a rock. And Atlanta's coming off probably one of the worst games of the year for them. And yeah, that's why I'm going Denver 27-23.
I dig it, man. Okay, okay. Um, so I am. This is another. By the way, this is another semi surprising point spread 2 weeks in a row. I would have expected the Broncos to be favored by 3 because they're the home team and it's two fairly eveny sort of teams on the surface. Um, for 2 weeks in a row, Vegas is throwing out a point spread that screams "pick me Falcons." That did not work last week, so I'm also picking the Broncos, 20-17. And I'll throw defense at you. Total defense yards per game, Broncos are 6th. The Falcons are 23rd.
Oh, there you go.
Now, the Falcons' offense will test that D, so let's see how they hold
For
up. But
sure. For
yeah.
sure.
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting game, man. I can't wait to see how that one turns out.
Me
However,
too.
the next one is one of the candidates for games of the week or game of the week with two others we mentioned so far, and that is Chiefs at Bills.
And the Chiefs, I think, for the first time this year, are the underdog.
Yep, I got Bills minus 2.5.
Yep. Well, if Josh Allen has everybody available, if Cooper and what's his face play,
Keon Coleman is already out.
right? Coleman's already. I already actually. I said that in the last pod.
Yep.
Um, we'll see about Cooper, but Kansas City's undefeated, and they find a way every single week, and I think they're going to find a way again. I'm going. This is an upset,
Yep.
but when you're picking the Chiefs, it doesn't feel like it's an upset.
I know, isn't that funny?
So I'm going Kansas City 35-31 to find a way in a high scoring game that the Bills fall short because they don't have all their weapons.
Love it. Okay. Okay. So this one is tricky, and I was very tempted to caveat based on the availability of Amari Cooper. Very tempted. But because Keon Coleman is already out, I am picking the same thing, Craig. I'm picking the Chiefs on the road. I said it in the last episode. That blocked field goal makes me think they are going undefeated, and they're going to have they got a lot of tough games to win between now and then to pull that off. But that's a kind of thing that happens when things like that go down. So, and on top of that, their defense is awesome. They are fourth in yards per game allowed and fifth in points per game allowed, tied with the Eagles for fifth. Whereas the Bills are ninth in points and 18th in yards per game. So the defense, you can really hang your hat on the Chiefs D. The Bills D's just been middle of the pack.
Yep,
So that lets me pick them on the road, along with the receivers, at least one of them being out, one of the important three receivers. And let me clarify that about the Josh Allen thing. If Cooper, Keon Coleman, or Khalil Shakir, those are the three you're looking at. If any one of them are out, it's an issue with Josh Allen. So, and we know at least one of them are out this week. Chiefs 24-21, staying undefeated.
yep. Makes perfect sense.
All right, my man. Now, shifting to Sunday night. And while maybe not a marquee matchup, I love this game and I cannot wait to see what happens. Bengals at Chargers.
Well, the Chargers, sang their praises last pod. They're a legitimate team. They're well coached now. They're looking good. And I also sang the praises of Cincinnati in a defeat, but they've been looking great the last few weeks, especially offensively. Burrow, I mean, he's right there with all the leaders in passing this year. He's been fantastic. And you might think this is a little bit of an upset or a pick that you wouldn't be thinking, but I'm actually going Bengals.
Right on. And that is, I have the Chargers as -1. So it is an upset. Absolutely. And again, you're picking the road team. So for sure.
Yeah, Bengals 30-21. Um, I think, like I said, I praise the Chargers. They've been good, solid, and good, but the Bengals have been great, in my opinion, offensively the
Yeah,
last few weeks.
no doubt.
And they've been playing just a little bit better, in my opinion. And the Chargers are going to be fine. The Chargers are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to remain a good team. But I think that the Bengals are just really on a huge roll offensively. I expect it to continue to some degree and be enough to hold off the Chargers 30-21.
Love it. Okay. All right. Well, I think is this going to be the first one, Craig, that we're different on, or do we have any other ones?
No, this is the first one.
Okay, here we go. So, listen, I don't dispute anything you said, and this game could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. The one thing that led me to pick the Chargers is I went back and looked at the Bengals schedule because I remembered the Eagles shutting down the Bengals not long ago, and I wanted to see who they were. Because okay, and let me just I'm stumbling on my setup, so let me just get to the meat. Here it is. 3 weeks ago, the Eagles held the Bengals to 17 points. All right. Now we know the Eagles are a good defense for sure. So they were held down by a good defense. The next 2 weeks, they scored 40. The Bengals scored 41 and 35 points, 34 points. Super impressive. But here's the thing: 41 was against the Raiders. 34 was against the Ravens' 28th ranked pass D. So this is the first time they've played a top five defense since the Eagles, and they scored 17 points. They scored 14 against the Browns, or 21 against the Browns the week before that, which nobody's putting on the best defenses in football this year. So my theory, and we'll see if it's right or not, because I really don't know, is that they are going to get held down somewhat by a very good defense. Now, if the Chargers can hold them to 24 points or less, I think they can win the game. So I'm going Chargers 26-23.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay.
I like that we got one that was different too. I thought we were going to have a whole bunch this week because this could have gone all over the place with all these picks.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
man, and oh boy, the schedule makers were as wrong about the Cowboys as we were. That's why they're on Monday Night Football against the Texans. Texans at Cowboys. Craig, go ahead.
28-10 Houston. Okay, now that's going to end the podcast, so we're good to go.
I love when you do that. That's so awesome. Woo! Oh, I love
And 28-10 Houston. There's no reason to think that you can't just absolutely manhandle Dallas. You got Micah Parsons crapping all over McCarthy. The team obviously doesn't care. The Cooper Rush won't throw the ball past 5 yards in the air.
it.
Um, you know, CJ Stroud has been kind of up and down, has not had a great year overall, in my opinion, not
For
a little
sure.
bit of a disappointment.
For sure.
But Houston itself has a good record. They're a good team overall. And even if Stroud is, just okay, that'll be enough to easily win this game 28-10. I'd be surprised if Dallas keeps this close. And the only way would be is if Stroud is actually awful. And maybe if Bland comes back they might have a better chance. Obviously, because Carson, that dude needs to get cut immediately. That he is the worst cornerback in the league. And all you've got to do is just locate him on the field on any pass play and just throw it to whoever he's covering.
Yeah, I'm
Just
with you, man.
find him. Oh, there
I'm
he is.
I'm so with you.
He's on our fifth receiver. The fifth receiver is going to win.
I'm so with
He's
you, man. I didn't realize
awful.
just how bad he was until I got to see him play a whole game this week.
So if Bland is in there, that's going to be a huge difference
Huge, huge.
because he's one of
Yeah,
the best corners in the league.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, there's two things that could make a huge difference in this game. I'm not caveating. I'm still going to pick who I'm picking, but uh, one is the return of Deron Bland, and two is the return of Nico Collins.
Right.
Because that's been a large part of Stroud's struggles, along with his offensive line being awful. So I watch for the Texans to draft and sign at least three offensive linemen in this offseason in the third round or better, or well thought of free agents, because their line couldn't be worse. As you mentioned last week, they're trying people out from off the street. In
Yeah.
the middle of a successful season, which is crazy. So yeah, those two things could be a big factor for sure. But I'm still taking the Texans, and I'm taking them 23-10.
All right. Yeah. I had 28-10. You had 23-10. And I had Atlanta as my upset. You had Baltimore. It's going to be
Yes,
very interesting. The fact that Baltimore and Kansas City are both uh, underdogs this week is kind of crazy.
I'm fascinated by it. I can't wait to see how that shakes out, man. I really can't. It's going to be really interesting. There's going to be some real interesting outcomes from this week. You got the NFC East on the line with the Commanders and the Eagles. You got the AFC. What are they? North. The Ravens and the Steelers. I
Yeah,
still
North. Yeah. Yep.
okay. And and you have potential number one, battling for the number one seed on the line between the Chiefs and the Bills. So there's all kinds of really heavy stuff going on this week. The Bengals trying to stay somewhat in the playoff hunt still, even though they're on their last breath for sure against the upcoming Chargers team. I mean, just lots of fun stuff, man. Lots of fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. This is gonna be a good one.
No doubt, no doubt. And you have time for a couple true or falses?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay. So let me just find the right week. Here it is. All right. Now, some news changed after I wrote this one last night, but I still want to use it as a talking point. Like the true or false was Matt Eberflus will be the next coach fired. And I think we got that answered by the fact that they chopped the offensive coordinator, and that's going to save Eberflus for a few weeks at least. But here's the
Yeah,
question I want to change it to: Who will there be a coach fired in this season, and who?
I don't think there'll be another one. I think everybody will stand pat until the off season. And Black Monday we'll have a few.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think I was thinking that Eberflus was a real good candidate because of just how the bottom fell out of this whole thing just dramatically. But
Him, Peterson, McCarthy.
yes, yes, Antonio Pierce. I mean,
Yeah,
the
I
Ravens
expect them
are
all to be
tanking.
gone on Black Monday, but I also expect them all to play out the string here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Cool. All right. Okay. Here we go. Number two, and there's three of them. Someone other than the 49ers will win the NFC West.
Oh, man.
And right now, I think they're a game and a half behind the Cardinals because of the bye. I think is how that works. Let me just double check that real quick. Dun, dun, dun. Um, they are. If I could get out of the AFC,
Hmm.
yeah, they're half a game behind. The Cardinals are 6-4. Niners are 5-4. Rams are 4-5. Seahawks are 4-5. So it is a cluster blank for sure.
I'm going to say false. I think they'll overtake Arizona. Um, Arizona, we are respecting them more now, but I still say San Francisco will find a way. I think it'll be close. I think Arizona is not going anywhere. They have a little bit of an up and down nature to their game a little bit. So maybe they trip up a few more an extra time after more than San Francisco does. So I'll say San Francisco does win the division, but Arizona will be right there and right in the thick of the playoff hunt.
Yeah, man. And this, listen, I think I would have said true to this if the Rams had won last night, because then you'd have them at 5-4 also, and then I could have played the odds on either them or the Cardinals taking out the Niners. But I believe in the Rams a lot less after last night, so I can't. I agree with you. I'm going to say true. It bums me out because I was hoping that this could have been some kind of real bad beginning of an end to this Niners team, but it's not happening. They're very good still. So yeah, I'm with you. All right, and then now I will preface this next question by saying I'm asking it because the division has two teams, one that is 7-2 and one that is 6-3 behind the team I'm going to ask it about. Someone other than the Lions will win the NFC North.
False.
Yeah,
Absolutely false. I
yeah.
I could see the Lions going 16-1.
That's it. Yeah, that I mean, listen, hey, maybe you know what I mean. I wouldn't like be
Maybe
like
they
you're
get tripped
crazy
up.
at all.
Yeah, I mean they got tripped up once this year. Maybe they get tripped up one more time, but that would still be 15-2. Can't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
call that. I could see that. Maybe I'll say that. I'll say they'll probably get tripped up on a game. Maybe we even one that we don't expect them to. Like not against like Green Bay or anything. It'll be against somebody random like like the Falcons or the I don't know who they're playing. Whatever. Regardless, somebody that you wouldn't expect them to lose to, they might get tripped up and have a bad game and lose that one more.
yeah. No, if I had to pick it, I'm with you because the Vikings are the 7-2 team. I think the Packers are better than the Vikings.
Me too.
And but they're already two games behind against a very good team that's not likely to lose too many. Now, I will say this: they have, and we'll dive heavy into the schedules more next week. But just since it came up. The tough they have they have a few games I would consider tough. They have the Packers, they have the Bills, and they have the 49ers and the Vikings. That's four games that are potential losses. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
So if they split those two,
yeah, and then they end up
those
14
four,
and 3.
yeah, that's still
I don't see the Vikings only losing one game the rest of the season and tying them at 14 and 3, you know,
no, no.
or the Packers going
Even if they trip
undefeated.
against somebody else, even if they trip against another team that we're not expecting, that's still 13-4. And I don't think the Vikings are winning 13 games either. The Vikings are gonna. I'm thinking more like 11 for them, 11 or 12 at the most.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are now going to be roughly a 500 team for the rest of the season. Wherever
I
that.
agree. They've definitely come back down to earth, and they're not playing that great.
Yeah, Darnold needs to rediscover the version of himself that doesn't turn the ball over for that to change.
Right. So yeah, they'll probably get overtaken by Green Bay, but Green Bay's already got how many losses? Three.
3. They'd have to go
Right.
perfect to end up at 14 and 3, which is highly unlikely.
Right. And even if they and losing just one is highly unlikely as well, which means that gives Detroit another game that they can lose.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, we've seen teams come back from this kind of deficit many times in the past, but this Detroit team's so good, I wouldn't pick it.
Right. Right. Right.
So yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you. And that's it for the true and falses.
Okay. Yeah, that was fun. That was always good. Um, I'm gonna. I want to ask you something.
Sure.
And I'm probably speaking it into existence, so it won't happen because I want it to happen, but I'm sure it won't. Um, any thoughts at all in the back of your mind that the Eagles are going to nosedive again, like they did last year, inexplicably for no reason really, and just have start becoming a team that for some reason stumbles down the stretch?
Absolutely legitimate question, and I think it's almost a 0% chance. And the reason for that is they have real coordinators instead of total morons like they had last year. Because and listen, I think their head coach is a fool. Now he might be a good coach. I still not 100%. I think he's a good coach for sure. I don't know if he's great because he couldn't have done what he's done in his first 3 years and be horrible. But he's
Right.
also got that Mr. Magoo element to him. But they've proven in the last couple of weeks they can overcome his stupidity. He's off talking to the crowd while they won a game. He's off. He's he's doing all these. He missed 9 points on calls he made himself that they managed to overcome. They
Yeah.
overcame him ratting out their own bullshit injury report this week because he was stupid at a press conference. They keep, you know what I mean? If they can overcome all that, I feel pretty good that they are in good hands with Kellen Moore calling the plays and Vic Fangio calling the plays. So I would
Very good.
say I could see it because it could always happen in the NFL, but it feels very unlikely to me right now.
Right. And you can't put them in the category of a trend off of 1 year.
Yeah.
So, and I can't see it. I just can't see it happening this year as well. Like I said, I hope it happens, but I can't. I can't see it happening. But I just want to see if there's because I forgot who I was. I've been bouncing around on YouTube on a lot of uh, the podcasts and radio shows and talking points and talking heads. And there was one Philadelphia guy who's apparently nervous about that.
Well, if you cannot turn on Philadelphia sports media without finding a whole heap and help dose of negativity. So the fact that you only heard one tells you how good people feel about this team.
And like I said, since I brought it up, it won't happen. I
Yeah,
was
and
thinking about not just shutting my mouth and hoping, but
I love
I
it. But
figured to bring it up.
I 100% understand the question after last year. I just feel way better about them having professional coordinators instead of guys that may not ever be coordinators ever again.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it until I saw that guy talking about it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
so all right.
and I understand that guy bringing it up after last year. You almost have to just as a talking point. But yeah, it doesn't feel like it to me at all.
Yeah. No, me neither. Okay, well, that's gonna do it.
Awesome.
If you guys were baseball fans as well, don't forget to check out our baseball wrap up show that was published yesterday. We had that with Jordan. A lot of good stuff on there. We wrapped up the entire season, looked at the awards that are coming out, and we looked at all of the predictions we got wrong as from the beginning of the year. And look ahead a little bit into free agency. We will definitely have some more as baseball news trickles in, like a slow drip, like it always does.
Right?
I'm telling you, that idea has got to come to fruition. The
I
idea
agree.
of giving them 2 weeks, December 1st to December 14th. If you sign in that time frame, you take off the percentage of the luxury tax.
I love that idea.
You
I am all for it.
you incentivize these teams to sign players sooner.
Yeah, I'm so for it because the offseason in baseball has gotten awful. Like just and it used to be one of my favorite things, but between Scott Boras almost single handedly making it a Chinese water torture process, and just the fact that there is so much time and there's no penalty or anything for taking all that time, it's gotten awful. I mean, you had
Right?
three high caliber players not signing until like right before the season or well into the season in the pitcher's case from Blake Snell,
Yep. And Jordan Montgomery. What?
Montgomery, and the who was the other guy? There was one more.
Yeah. And Montgomery ended up firing him.
Yes, I can't believe the other two didn't.
Yeah, because he screwed them out of contracts. Out of
Massive amount of money he cost them. Now I'm sure he promised, oh, we'll make it up this season, blah blah blah. Well, whatever, dude. He's Boris is Boris. But yeah, no, I'm with you. That would make everything so much better. It would Boris proof the process to a certain extent,
and
and
it would make those 2 weeks amazing.
it would be incredible. And they're missing the boat on it because baseball, well, they got to do. We call Jordan the unicorn because he's a young guy that loves baseball.
Yes.
Enough said about how boring they've made the sport in some ways. Now, the sport, you either love baseball or you don't. The game itself is beautiful, and you either love it or you don't. But the off season is what draws so many people into so many sports, and they've made it intolerable in baseball. So, 100%, you get my vote for commissioner. Screw Bob Costas. You're the man.
I don't know. So the idea, the fully formed idea was December 1st to December 14th, or whatever that month, the closest Monday is to December 1st.
Mm-hmm.
You open up free agency and you charge the luxury tax half, or maybe 75% of the luxury tax. So you save 25% against the luxury tax on the contracts that you give out.
I love it. I'm all for it. Anything that speeds up that process, and that seems a really well thought out way of doing it. I'm all
Fifty
for it.
percent is probably a little bit too much, but 25% for sure.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. If you give them any savings over the luxury tax, it's going to be appealing to the owners. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I think that's awesome. Anything that would get that process cooking, because man, right now it starts on December 1st or whatever it is, and goes until April.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I mean, these guys are literally missing most of the preseason, the most of the time to ramp up, and then they're more likely to get hurt when they do.
And by the way, we both exactly called what was going to happen to Blake Snell's season when that went down.
Yep.
We called it exactly. He got hurt. He didn't pitch until like May, late May, something like that. He was terrible. He got
Yeah, because
for
he
five
he always starts out. He's like the Bengals. He always starts out slow.
exactly, and then he got hurt again. Came off the IR, and then was the Blake Snell that happens in from usually July or August on, and was awesome the rest of the season. But yeah, no, it just drives me crazy. So I'm right there with you, man. I love the idea. I fully endorse it.
Yeah. All right, a little bit of a baseball rant there, but anyway, I enjoy this as I do every single week, picking the games. Can't wait for next week. Can't wait to see how these games start once these games get off the ground here and see how they end up. And it starts right off the bat. I am looking very much forward to Washington and your Eagles. That's going to be a
Oh,
lot of fun.
can't wait, my man. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Um, and I want to shout out your reaction channel real quick too because I love it and it's awesome. And if there are any King Crimson nerds out there listening, be prepared because I am now on a giant King Crimson tangent, and Craig's going to be the recipient of some of it.
Yes, I saw the email with the requests and the donation. I appreciate the donation, of course. And
Always.
yeah, I will get to them for sure. Um, yeah, I have some other ones to get to as well. For whatever reason, just inexplicably, the donations, and again, I am very appreciative and you know, thank everybody who donates. I just got an influx the last like 10 days or so
Oh, that's
of
awesome.
like somebody donated a decent amount of money for like 7 songs. So I got to get through
Oh,
like almost all of them.
yeah, heck yeah.
And plus you know you donated for a few of the King Crimson, and then that guy Sam, shout out to Sam if he's listening, probably not, but regardless, he donated as well. So I got to get to some songs for sure. And plus, I love Nightwish, and they came out with a brand new album, and I got to one of their songs finally, and I love this band, and I love this new album.
Yeah, they're not the type of thing I normally listen to a bunch, but they are crazy good, crazy good. I've gotten to appreciate them because of your channel.
Floor Jansen is her name, and she, I think, right now is the best singer on the friggin' planet, or at least at the very least, the best rock singer on the planet. Her voice is unreal.
Yeah, it's otherworldly.
If you go on YouTube, and listeners as well, look up Floorgasms. That's what they call it when the first time you hear Floor Jansen, they call it a
Oh no
floorgasm,
way!
and people reacting to her and just like completely blown away by her voice. Her
Oh, I
voice is
love it.
amazing.
It is. I'll check that out because I've certainly grown to a like not grown like instantly appreciated her voice the second I watched. First time I ever heard them was whenever you did your first reaction to them.
Yeah, Ghost Love Score, which is the one that everybody listens to. It's got like 30 something, 40 something million views or something. It's got a crazy amount. Um, yeah. So anyway, Floorgasms on YouTube. Check that out. That's a lot of fun. And I will try to get to a more off their new album. Yesterwind is the name of the new album, and I did one song off of it. I'm trying to hold off and not listen to them anymore so I can react to them. So I'm going to get to those. I'm going to get to King Crimson, and I'm going to get to Sam stuff, and I'm going to get to I think it was Brandon. He's the one who requested like 7 songs. He's the one that did the Belinda Carlisle one.
Oh, I checked that out, and that was interesting, man. It was good. It was, it wasn't like mind blowing, but it was cool to hear Belinda Carlisle do a cream. That was fascinating.
Yeah, very interesting.
It
Anyway,
was.
all right, we're off the rails, so let's just wrap it up.
I love it.
Until next week, guys. We'll have our review and preview like we always do, probably on Tuesday night or Wednesday early in the day. And until next time, I will see you later.